stay in your space of stillness as I share with you a story. A story that for me was profound and metaphorical with the awakening of the intuitive. It was Thursday night, I sat outside in the evening. The air was crisp and clear, cool and refreshing. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I had watched a beautiful sunset happen before me. I looked up in the clear night sky and saw an endless abyss of stars. A sight I have seen many, many times and never ceased to be overwhelmed. But this time, it held in it a different context. For in that moment, God spoke to me and said, "Do you understand the purpose of day and night? Do you see it as something more than just a physical process?" And everything within me awakened, and I said, "Yes, I understand." For in essence, the blue sky you see in front of you today is nothing more than a reflection of the water molecules as the sun hits them. However, when it does that, it gives us the incredible illusion that this is what is out there. It gives us hours in the day to experience an illusion that, in truth, does not really exist. It is God's break from the incomprehensible, infinite reality of the universe that we are truly a part of, but that if we were forced to face on an ongoing basis, would at this point in our consciousness be too much for our souls to handle. In that space, as it awakened to me, I realized I am comfortable with that infinite. I am comfortable with that unknown, ever-expansive universe that I am a part of. And I am comfortable with the fact that in a physicality, relatively speaking, within that space, I am nothing. For if it takes the stars that shine the light, billions of light years, millions to billions, to reach me at the speed of light, the sheer distance it must cover truly is mind-boggling. In that space where all was shown to me, I was comfortable. I realized the purpose of the day and the purpose of the night. I realized that in the perceptual reality where I once lived my whole life, the blueness of the sky and the truth that it kept from me and the smallness that it created in my consciousness, the kindergarten classroom of consciousness, so to speak, was so appreciated and loved as I embraced the intuition within me, as I embraced the oneness with that which is Creator. I am then able to stare at the universe and accept that I am now ready to know what is beyond my comprehension. I do not wish to see only that which is apparent to my eyes. I am open to messages and truth that comes from a place I cannot contain, describe, or understand. That was once seen by humans as the dark side. Anything that could not be substantiated was seen as coming from a dark place. In essence now, I understand the beautiful truth and humor in that statement, don't you? It was in essence coming from a dark space. Which, if you look out into the universe, any night where there's not clouds, most of it is dark space. Most of it is unseen. Most of it is unknown. It is time, as you embrace deeper levels of intuition tonight, that you become comfortable with that which is what you are. Your experience in the universe is, for the most part, going to be completely unknown to you. Not understood. There will be moments that you want to close that intuitive eye and bring the blue sky back and say, no, this is all there is. It's just about going to work and making a living and raising a family, and this is all there is. There's just this planet, and there's no life anywhere else, and this is it. This is it. See, there's the sky. It's all right here. That's it. And all the answers are going to come from here, and everything's going to come from here. And this is the contained package. And we aren't really a speck of dust floating in amidst an infinite number of specks of dust. And there isn't an infinite number of forms of life out there having the same experience as us. And we don't have anything in common with them, let alone each other. That we're really all alone in this. Anyone who is in that space and looks at a night sky must be horrified at the same time they're in awe. You must continue to move into the space with your intuition open. You must accept that most of what you're experiencing is unknown to you. Most of why it's happening is unknown to you. That by far, the true force of life, which is what I call God, is in most moments invisible. It is invisible. It is what makes matter matter. It is what creates form out of matter. Matter in and of itself does not create its own form. The forces that created matter give it the ability to have form and change form. As you embrace the intuitive way, as you embrace this deep level of unconditional love and acceptance and peace, one of the things you must embrace if you intend on continuing in this path is that you will have no idea, in truth, why things are really happening in a finite, absolute sense. You will live your life in the space of that night sky. You may have moments, and I have more and more of them, but I want to say may because I don't know where everyone is. eventually you will have moments where even looking out into that dark sky, you feel as though you're looking at the blue sky. That you seem that comfortable and everything seems that defined and that synchronistic, where this unbelievable, beyond comprehension experience completely makes sense. My advice to you is completely fall in love and embrace that moment, but do not hypothesize past it. Do not say, because of this, then this. Embrace that moment as a beautiful, beautiful occurrence that is a wonderful result of the practice of living life intuitively, surrendering. Let it be one of what will become infinite number of moments of the presence of God, of this force of synchronistic order, life, and embrace it. And then, let it go. But remember that it was there. Eventually, you will learn and become aware of how these unseen forces move and shift. They have patterns, they have purpose, and they have order. And when you learn to be a student of them, you can become very comfortable with the form in which matter will take to a large degree going forward. I would like to take tonight, and it was my best intention to do question and answer, but the message is coming through so clearly that I just feel it is in the highest good to give it to you. To be at peace in the intuitive way, you must accept complete surrender of form. And we are going to leave behind a word tonight that has had power over how we see the change in form. And we're going to leave it behind, and we will use it in terms of communication or description, but we will never use this word to define ourselves again. And that word is old. It is a non-functional, inaccurate description based on illusion. Every life form created that we are aware of on this planet, and I can guarantee you it's the same everywhere, as a result of being involved in the field of life, which is what we're going to call God's creation, undergoes change in form. Does it not? What do you know that is exactly the same as it was a period of time ago? It is the natural progression of matter, which is what ends up being form, as it's affected by the field of life. It is caused by change, and it is caused by the movement of these unseen forces that then control the shape of matter. Change in form, if left unmeddled with, which happens when you live in the intuitive way, this place of complete acceptance and love, is only controlled by God. Even when completely controlled by God, though, when you look at other animals, trees, plants, humans, of course, there is a constant change in form. You are not the same form you were when you were 6 months old. Yet, when we're 6 months old and we become a year old, it's a celebration, isn't it? Wow, look at you, you're walking now. You're in the walking form. Oh, look at you, you're riding your bike. Look how big you're getting. Wow, you're really turning into a nice young lady. Look at you, holding a baby inside of you. Oh, there's nothing like a mother. And right around that kind of 40, 50 mark, which we create, you know, compliments and expressions start to change. And they change because we've allowed ourselves, ignorantly, to start believing in the aging process. And we associate the ages of roughly 38 to 40 to 80, 90 with the process called degeneration, the aging process, getting old. If we are identifying our soul with the process that's getting old, which is life is then getting old. If we are getting old, then we are life getting old. We are going to accelerate that process. Or we're going to resist it, which is going to accelerate it. Most importantly, we are putting a negative connotation on the change of form from that point forward. Which means as you're going through the natural changes in form from your 40s through your 90s, let's say, that's not something we celebrate. We may celebrate the age as some type of triumphant accomplishment over life, which is just so ridiculous. But we don't celebrate the change in form. And because we do not, we can't do anything else but then start becoming hyper attentive to it, anticipating what's coming next. And little by little, a world that was once a beautiful starry sky with infinite possibility and infinite awareness begins to be the blue sky again. Where we are once again defined by what we see, what we're touching, what we're experiencing. There will always be a change in form. One of the beautiful things that came through me, it's just, of course, a perfect time to do it is, what are the trees doing with their leaves right now? Changing. And after they change, what do they let them do? Fall. Going into their most challenging season of the year, winter. Less light, lots of cold. They go within. They let their leaves fall. Knowing there'll be another spring, knowing there'll be another time when they'll come, they let them fall. They do not hang on to them. And in fact, a tree that hangs onto its leaves, unless it's a certain type that's meant to, is seen as a tree that's unhealthy. Based on the type of tree we are meant to lose our leaves unless you're obviously not a tree that's meant to. We are meant to lose our leaves again and again and again. We are meant to go through a shedding. We are meant to go through a form change. You will be going through form changes as long as you are involved in the field of life, which will be how long?
Forever.
Forever. This is another pragmatic point I am bringing you to. Change in form is beautiful, especially when it's untouched. Do the right things for yourself, obviously. Exercise. Do the basic truths of our practice. Drink water, be in a space of love, acceptance, peace, and compassion. Eat healthy, real food. Exercise. Breathe deep. Do some yoga, stretching, go for walks, the basics. And then enjoy. Embrace. I began to lose some of my hair a while back. And so I cut all my hair off. Looked at myself with all my hair off. I'm like, okay, so what? Remember we talked a while back about those situations that you look at, and I told you just to bring yourself to that situation and look at yourself and disempower it. To one, the example I used was my son getting hit by a car. I told him my arms. Remember that whole talk I did? Held him my arms, okay? Just go there. If you don't, your form will always control you. Always. It will control what you're capable of being, what you're capable of feeling, what you're capable of not feeling, what you're capable of being enlightened of, what you're capable of not being enlightened of. And it's transient. I completely embrace transient experiences in my life, but I am in love with the constant. Not the form. I love my form, whatever form it is. I'm happy to have one. You know, I'm happy to have one. But it cannot define me. Because if it does, then I will have no peace in my soul. Because every day, whether I want to admit it or not, my form is changing. That's why the way I teach you to practice life, it takes all that out. If you are practicing life the way I'm teaching you, whatever's happening to your form, you can completely let it go. Because within a space of balance, what else can you do? Except learn from it, live with it, embrace it, and know that it's going to what? Change. Now, as usual, I speak in metaphors. I'm making this very tangible for you because I'm talking about form being what? Your what?
Visible.
Yeah, visible, body, right? Let's just, I don't even have to explain this, but let me just extrapolate you, because I've got you holding here. Let's just extrapolate you into the form. What else can have a form? Okay, besides your physicality, the form of your life, right? What form your life is taking right now? It's in a certain form, isn't it? Has a certain form, has a certain structure, has a certain repetition, has a certain context to it, right? What do you have to be completely ready for that form to do? Change, because it's gonna. In fact, it already is, from moment to moment, changing forms. You don't notice it because you've got your eye on, you're still in the blue sky a little bit. You kind of like it all defined. Well, this is still there, and this is still there, and this is still there, and everything's kind of still there. But you know what? The way I see things now, intuitively, it's all fluxing all the time. And so what you guys consider to be surprises, I consider to be the absolute expected thing to happen. I may not know specifically, but I can see where things are going to shift. Because you can tell. When you completely open, you can start to see it. So the form of life can change, okay? How about the form of your beliefs? Can those change? Yeah, in fact, they're like everything else, aren't they? Eventually they're gonna what? They've got to. Unless you just want to live your life in that beautiful little blue sky where this is all there is and there's nothing else and you're complete. And I got news for you. You'll be able to maintain that for a certain period of time, and this world is full of people that are desperately trying to hold on to that. Suffering incredibly to hold on to that. But eventually what's going to happen? It's going to change. It's going to open. It's going to open. Why? Because there's way too much space for things not to continue to open. When you look out in the universe, pragmatically speaking again, there's way too much space for us to stay contained. There's an incredible lack of density in the universe when you look at it. Most of what surrounds it, everything by far is not matter, it's space. I'm not a genius. I just look with a different eye, and I listen, and I ponder, like, Because I'm confident now in knowing that what is that is me, and what is me is that. I am that universe, just in a different form, but I am that universe. And if that universe is full of space for expansion, as am I. I am of that universe. In fact, I know now because science has told us this, we came from that universe. Every element in that universe is what we are. Our planet came from that universe, and we came from this planet. We are of that starry sky we look out at. It is us as much as this chair. When you can accept that truth, you can realize how, to me, form is irrelevant. I will be in one form or another forever, because I am the I am. And you are the I am. And you will be in one form or another forever. Some of them you may like, some of them you may not. The practice I'm teaching you is so that you will love them all. So that no matter what form you're in, the first thing you're doing is falling in love with it. Why? Because one, you don't have a what? Choice. And two, eventually it's gonna change. So what's the rub? What, you know what I'm saying? I mean, is it getting simpler for all of you now? What's So I'm jogging. Is there any young ones in the audience? Can I say a nasty word? Is everyone okay with it? So I'm running. And those of you who've heard my stories know that stories come to me when I'm running. So I'm running, okay? Beautiful day I ran the same run before, that's part of the story. But I'm running it again. I'm running from my office, and I'm running all the way down to Edgewater Park from our office, all the way out to the Coast Guard station, out past Wendy Park, and then back around. The first time I'm running this loop, I get by the sanitation department. And it just smells like shit.
Surprise.
There's no other word for it, just shit. You know, so I'm kind of like running and like, oh. I run past it, and I'm on my way to run back. And you know, I mean, I hear God in many different ways, but it's not always profound. God teaches me something when I need to be taught, not when I think I need to know something. So I'm running back, and God says, "Why did you stop breathing when you ran through that area?" And I said, "Because it smelled like shit." And he said, "You are the shit."
Oops.
Yeah. He has no mercy for my ego. Actually, not even he. It has no mercy for my ego. He says, "You are the shit." And I went, "Oh my God, I am the shit. What is that? What is in that is in me." And furthermore, where did most of it come from? And so God said to me in that moment, on your way back, you must embrace that. You must breathe that deeply. If you do not, you will always see it as something separate from you. You will always see that part of life as something separate from you. And you must embrace every part of life as necessary, even though you don't understand why. It's there because I know it's there for a reason, and you must embrace it completely. Otherwise, there will be a part of me that you will, in an illusion of choice, separate yourself from. I'm like, wow! All that because I ran by the sanitation department. So I ran back, and I breathed. Deep, running breaths. And I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't, even though I knew that to be profoundly true, I wasn't completely comfortable. It smelled. You know? The thing that saw the blue sky was saying, "This stinks." But I breathed it, and I harmonized myself to it, and it was good. So last Sunday, I went for a run again. Same run. I'm going to be honest with you. I barely even thought about running by. Let alone smelling it. I barely even recognized I ran by it. And I only noticed that I ran by it and it had a slight smell when I was already past it. And it wasn't like I went, oh, it smells. I ran by it. In this form of life that you are in, okay, there will be things that you want to call shit. There'll be things that stink, that you don't like, that you don't want to accept. And in the old way of thinking, and God bless if any of you are here, and I'm probably going to offend you, but I really don't care. Because I don't. Okay? That was called like sin and God being mad and, come on. It's just stuff that doesn't smell good. It's not the dark side. It's just stuff in a space of decomposition. It's stuff that's working its way back around. It's stuff in a lower level of life form that's moving to a higher level of life form. It is what it is. Don't give it a negative label. Don't give it a negative word like getting old. It has to be what it is, or it would be something different. And in any form anything is, what is it still a part of? Life. And if it's a part of life, what is it a part of? Us and God. God. People want to put stuff outside God because that helps them believe in God the way they want to believe in God without the expansion. And that's okay, but just know that. Some people are not ready to live in the starry sky that you're all accelerating into. They want to be able to bring that little shield down and say, no, this is how it is. This is where it stops for me. That's not an option that you have if you're going to live in a space of intuitiveness, in a space of unconditional love and peace and acceptance. And that's why in one of the first talks I gave, which I know shocked a lot of people that came to see me that first talk, I said, I am completely okay with any religious belief system that you follow, as long as it does not empower you to the point where you are segregating yourself or seeing yourself as separate from somebody else in a way that would not allow you to unconditionally love and accept them. Because that's the point at which you're allowing something in you to say, I don't like that smells. That's not a part of life. That's not a part of my reality. Well, you know what it is? Unconditional means unconditional. It doesn't mean when it smells bad, or when it has some cellulite, or when it has a wrinkle. It means unconditional. I'm not teaching you how to have a nice time. I'm teaching you how to get along with an infinite field called life forever. If we're going to get along with something we're going to be a part of forever, there can be no conditions except that it's unconditional. Because whether you want to take it from me or not, and I think you do if you're here, you're going to experience these same situations over and over and over and over and over again until you run by the sanitation department and you don't even know you ran by it until you smell it for a second and it's over. That's, in essence, at some point, what a lifetime will be. Is it over already? God, it even... But not with, oh man, I can't believe it's over, and oh, when is it going to be over? And it just, When that's the case, then you're enjoying every moment along the way and considering it all a part of the journey, all a part of the experience, and you're loving it all. But you won't experience that until you stop putting down the blue sky. It's a nice break. I love blue skies too. But the reality is, you're going to see the real deal in about 2 hours. That's really the world, that's really the universe we live in on this world. And when you keep that perspective, you can enjoy the blue sky, but you always know what's behind it. And I want to close with this message. I love the blue sky in everybody. I see the blue sky that stops many of you from seeing what I see. I love the blue sky in all of you, but I also see the infinite behind all. So when you're dealing with somebody who's locked in a blue sky, love them for the blue sky that they see. But know the infinite that's behind that. And know that at some point in time they will go through enough life and enough form change and enough awakening where they will realize the infinite that they are. They will realize that. And they will no longer have the contractile belief systems or restrictions of form or feelings that stop them from completely embracing that which they are. I had a wonderful man come to see me, and I'll finish with this story. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He has 5 months to live. Don't go, aw. Don't go, aw, or that's bad, or too bad. Just shut it off. It's no big deal.
I'm sorry. I thought I collected my thought.
Just shut it off. Don't apologize. It's all right. We don't forgive you. It's nothing wrong. It was meant to happen. Don't oh my. You're already feeling bad about something.
It's done now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over.
It couldn't happen in a better place.
Ugh.
Don't worry about it. It was the form things took. You good? Oh, take your hand off your head. Let it go. I love you to death. Okay, so he comes in and he's coming to see me because, he's coming to see everybody right now. And I say to him, Les, I said, I need you to accept a basic truth if there's anything I can do to help you. And he said, what? I said, well, how do you see yourself? And he says, kind of just sat there, wow, who asked me these kinds of questions? I said, well, how do you see yourself? How do you define yourself? He sat there and he really struggled with the question. And I walked him through. I said, do you believe in a force of life? Do you believe there's something that gives us the force of life? He said, yes. I said, well, are you okay with me calling that force of life God? He said, yeah. I said, you agree with that? He says, yeah. I said, and do you believe that you are in a form we call human form? And he said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, so do you see any argument with calling yourself you are God, force, and human form? You are God in human form. You are the force of life we call coming from God in a human form. Do you believe that? Can you accept that? He says, yeah. He says, but doesn't that sound pompous? And you could see the blue sky. Like he was really violating a bunch of really big rules, accepting them. I said, if the truth is pompous, then the truth is pompous. I said, maybe we're all just really underestimating ourselves because we can't believe a simple truth. That we are that. See, you got friends. Here comes in the phone's defenses, I should have been done by now. They would have been ringing without me talking. So he realized that. He realized that. He also realized I taught him a bunch of the teachings that I taught you all about emotion and feelings and being a victim of other people's feelings. I taught him the things I've been teaching you. When he laid down on that table, I could not put my hand on his stomach because the pancreatic cancer was causing such pain. He couldn't even touch it. He's on morphine and Oxycontin, all kinds of crap. By the end of the visit, he was pressing in on his abdomen and breathing. And his biggest remark with me was, thank you so much for just taking the time to help me see these things. The teachings that are coming through me that we are sharing together, they are not about this being me. This is about all of you. When you are able to see that dark sky and you are able to live in it and you are able to just allow those unseen forces to move your matter in a way that allows you to be completely, unconditionally loving accepting, and peaceful with another person. These things will come out of your mouth. You will be an expression of that which you truly are. This man walked out. I said, well, I'd like to see you in a few days. He says, you know what? I've got to tell you something. He goes, I've gone to see several doctors and walked out of their offices completely overwhelmed. Sensory overload, okay? And so I'm hearing it. Remember some of the teachings we talked about? Perception, being overwhelmed by perception. Perception of emotion, whatever. Everything you perceive. He goes, I'm walking out of your office today completely overwhelmed. But in a completely different way. I am overwhelmed by peace right now. Does it really matter at this point what happens to this man's form? No. He's completely, all the pressure's off of him. He's focusing on his relationship with life, his relationship with the giver of life, God. He's focusing on what, when we're not focused on, creates sickness. And within an hour, he's touching his stomach. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying the pain was better. He could still die in 3 weeks for all I know. It's not about that. Death is an eventuality. He said to me when he first came in, before I even had a chance to ask him what was wrong with him, he told me, and he said, I just want to go through this experience with some dignity, with some quality of life and with some dignity. Now, of course, he's talking about his experience with pancreatic cancer and all that kind of stuff, okay? But isn't that what I'm helping you all come to do with your life? Just go through it and experience it with a sense of quality and dignity. Just to be with it. To not let the perception of what it is control how you're going to experience it anymore. Just experience it in a level of constancy and balance by staying in the practice of what we do. It's very powerful.